I love Dragon Ball. I look forward to it every year and have over 700 wins in the minigame to date. If you've ever played Dragon Ball and felt like you're just getting blasted every 2 seconds, this video is for you. I'm going to share some key tips and strategies I've learned over the past years and from other Dragon Ball enthusiasts to help you farm those sweet champion envelopes. Let's get into it. Part 1. What is Dragon Ball and how to play? Dragon Ball is a 5v5 minigame only available during the Lunar New Year festival. You can enter the arena by talking to Finola in Divinity's Reach. Just like structured PvP, the goal is to reach 500 points before the other team. However, in the arena, every kill is worth 20 points instead of 5. There are no capture nodes, and all players have the same set of skills. Dragon Ball is about movement, timing, and teamwork. To help you move around quickly, you're given a permanent speed boost, plus the arena features jump pads and zip pads. Upon game start, you will only have one skill, to shoot a basic fireball that does 1500 damage. There are health orbs and power-ups all around the arena in set locations that give you access to more skills. These orbs are shared across all players on the map, so picking one up prevents both your allies and enemies from getting it. Each time you die, you reset back to your basic 1 skill. Lastly, let's talk rewards. I love playing Dragon Ball, but of course getting gold by winning makes it all the more enticing. There are a few annual achievements you can earn that award little lucky envelopes, but the big one to pay attention to is Dragon Ball Champion. This repeatable achievement awards you Token of the Dragon Ball Champion every 10 wins, which can be traded in once per day for a Dragon Ball Champion's Divine Lucky Envelope. These envelopes fluctuate in price, but they're usually in the 20 to 40 gold range. Part 2. General tips, strategies, and skills. Dragon Ball is heavily based on your positioning and movement around the map. You almost always want to be running, using the jump and zip pads, and dodging. Keyboard turners beware! You will quickly be picked off if you don't strafe or use the mouse to move your camera. Slow movement equals a quick death. Additionally, because everybody has the same skills and speed, running away from a fight is significantly harder. Avoid being chased with somebody directly behind you. Running away like that makes you an easy kill. Instead, try maneuvering around corners, dodging back through the enemy to attack them, or using the jump and zip pads to change direction quickly. As for racking up points, one of the best strategies is to find and run with your other teammates. Staying grouped up allows you to call targets and take down enemies faster. If you run around solo, you're more likely to be picked off by the other team roaming in a pack. This strategy is so important that I even recommend forgoing your own power-ups to help your team. You absolutely want to get upgrades, but if you see a teammate engaged in a 1v1 nearby, your basic 1 skill is enough to turn the tide and make that fight a 2v1 in your favor. Speaking of skills, let's go over each one, what it does, where to find it, and how to use it in fights. First is your 1 skill, Super Dragon Sphere. This power-up is an upgrade to your starting 1 skill and does 1500 damage. This is the same amount of damage as the starting form, but it's faster, longer range, and can't be easily sidestepped like before. For most players, this attack is going to be where the bulk of your damage comes from throughout the game, so upgrading it should be your first goal when respawning. It can be found at each sewer entrance closest to the bases. Second, we have Dragon Bomb, the 2 skill, a slow-moving arcing projectile that deals 3000 damage to every enemy caught in its explosion. It can be found right outside of each base. Dragon Bomb has a wide range of applications depending on your situation and can be a constant source of damage, both in 1v1s and especially in teamfights. Its cooldown is only 2 seconds, so you can use this skill with free reign, throwing it in front of an enemy's path, behind you as you run away, through walls and ceilings, or on the edge of platforms. Next is skill slot 3, Ice Blast, which spawns on the 2 side pillars in the center area. Ice Blast makes your character do a little jump and applies chill to any nearby enemy. As a refresher, chill decreases movement speed and skill cooldown by 66%. While it sounds useful in combat, this skill is much more valuable for mobility purposes. Chilling foes affords you time to run away more effectively, but the biggest mobility gain is using Ice Blast mid-air on jump pads to travel between levels of the arena quickly. With this trick, you can disengage from fights below or join team battles going on above with ease. Next is skill 4, a Flying Dragon Kick that dazes an enemy and deals 1500 damage. These orbs spawn on the left and right top pathways. A well-timed kick can interrupt opponents' skills, though this can be difficult to time properly. It's primarily useful in 1v1s, but can be effective in small team fights as well. One of the best places to use Dragon Kick is when your opponent places a reflect bubble, since this is a way you can still apply damage without shooting a projectile. Last but definitely not least is skill 5, Dragon Stomp, which places a large reflect bubble on you. This skill is highly sought after and only spawns in 2 locations within the center of the sewers, so it can be harder to reliably find. Dragon Stomp is key in 1v1s, which are usually even matches where you and your opponent trade blows back and forth. Here, the reflect is super valuable because you almost always send back at least one shot. Reflects are even more potent in team fights as there are more fireballs being thrown around and you can protect multiple teammates at once. If you're lucky, your teammates might even have reflex themselves, and you can chain together bubbles for back-to-back protection. Additionally, a well-placed bubble can afford you an escape when being chased. Opponents that attack when inside an enemy bubble get hit with their own shots, so many players stop chasing or even back away when they see you place a bubble. Capitalize on that by disengaging from a losing fight to squirrel away and heal up. In addition to skills 1 through 5, there are 2 special power-ups that spawn twice per game in the center of the arena. At the top platform, the purpley black egg grants a special type of stealth that lets you attack while invisible. Feel free to grab this whenever you see it and chase players down. The bottom pedestal hosts the Dragon Damage Egg, which quadruples your damage for a short amount of time. You still take damage as normal, and players will target you, so make sure you have a good amount of health or access to the 5 skill before grabbing the egg. Be judicious on when you grab this. Make sure you know where 1 to 2 players are beforehand so you don't end up wasting your damage window running around looking for enemies to hit. Part 3. Advanced Tips. Now the fun part. Here are 10 advanced tips to take your gameplay to the next level. 1. Power-ups for skills 1 through 3 spawn at the beginning of the game. All others start appearing about 20 seconds into the match. All orbs seem to respawn within 20 to 35 seconds. 2. Power-ups and health orbs can be collected by multiple people at the same time. That includes your enemies, and yes, this even applies to the special eggs. 3. There are 3 levels of healing orbs. The small orbs heal 1000 health and are located near the spawning bases. 1 orb per side on the top path, and 2 orbs near the 1 skill power-up. The medium health orbs restore 2500 health and are all in the bottom center area. The large health orbs restore a whopping 5000 health, half of your health pool, and can be found in the middle layer near the spawn base walls. When engaged in combat, make sure to grab the health orbs before your opponent. Do note that you can only collect these if you're not at full health, so if you see an ally going for the same orb as you, consider letting them have it if you're not in dire need of it, or try holding back and timing your running so you both pick it up at the same time. 4. Dragon Bomb can be used on platforms above you. If you see a fight happening on the wooden catwalk, the center square platform, or the main top pathways, chuck a 2 skill up there and see if you can help your teammates. If you're down in the sewers and you see a reflect bubble through the ceiling, that's a good indication a fight is happening above you and you might be able to do some damage from below. 5. Dragon Bomb can also be used to clip enemies who have placed a reflect down but moved away from the center of their bubble. The AoE is so large that throwing it at the edge of the bubble can still hit your opponent inside. 6. Consider setting your ground AoE target to instant cast. This lets you use Dragon Bomb more effectively and consistently in your matches. 7. When in 1v1 combat, Try your best to maneuver behind the enemy. The one skill Dragon Sphere only shoots forward, so positioning yourself such that the enemy can't attack you is a big help. 8. If you're fighting near a power-up or health orb, be sure to steal it from your opponent before they can grab it. If you have a keen eye, you can look at their bar to see which power-ups they already have, but it's generally safe to assume they probably want the orb near you. You can take this a step further and steal the power-ups from their side of the arena. 9. As best you can, avoid being in the air. Try not to stay on bounce pads too long, and when moving from the high ground to a lower position, dodge roll instead of jumping. Airtime means you're out in the open and vulnerable from multiple angles. 10. Generally, the center lower area is a dangerous place to be, and you should avoid staying there for any length of time. This area is wide open and can be targeted from all levels of the arena. If you need to make a pit stop to grab some health, be sure to leave as quickly as you came in. Those are my top tips for getting better at Dragon Ball. Hopefully this helps you win more matches and maybe even make some extra gold during Lunar New Year. If you found this helpful, consider sharing this video on Discord. To wrap things up, here's a montage of highlights from my own games. Thanks for watching.
Congratulations! You are victorious!